Now we're going to have a look at raw onion. Raw onion can be used for all respiratory problems. What happens when you chop up an onion? You start to cry? That's because the onion juice starts to loosen all the fluids in the eustachian tube. So if you have a blocked sinus, if you have blocked respiratory, the onion can clear it. And with a baby, you can finally slice an onion and put it on a plate and put it on a bedside table, say near where the baby's sleeping, and the baby will breathe in the onion fumes. Most people are aware that if you paint a room and the fumes are strong, you can slice up an onion and put it in the room and it'll absorb the paint fumes. Or if there's a bad smell in the fridge, you can slice up the onion and put it in. But as a result, because the onion is a drawer, you would never use half an onion and wrap the other half in Glad wrap, because the onion will absorb all the chemicals from the Glad wrap. If you have an onion and you only want to use half, you could chop it in half with the skin intact and you could put one half in a china bowl like that. But I would not keep that till the next day. You might keep it for the next meal, but not for the next day. What you can do if you've only got a big onion, you only want to use a little and you're not going to use an onion again till the next day, you might chop the whole onion up finely, put it into a glass jar with a metal lid and put it in the freezer. And I have done that because the onion is a drawer, and that's why it works with the earache and the boil. But let's have a look at raw onion that you can use as a poultice. You can use a raw onion as a poultice for all respiratory problems. And to use it as a poultice, you finely slice it. I don't usually grate because when you grate it, it becomes very, very wet. So you finely slice the onion, and then you might use a chucks or a cloth. I'm using a chucks. And you put the onion into the cloth or the chucks, and you spread it around, break it up a little bit, and you fold it over. And that's how you make your poultice. So here's your onion poultice, and that would be about the size for maybe a 10-year-old child. And the area that's got one layer, that's the area that you would put on the chest. I've got a microphone there, so I'm not going to put it on my chest, but I'll let you imagine. And then you cover it with plastic. And let's pretend that that is my chest. So I would put it like that. And then you would bandage it on or tape it on. If I was putting that on my 6-year-old, I would put the 4-year-old singlet on it. And the singlet will hold it snug, and you could even pin it through all that into the singlet, and that can hold it. And then I might put a skivvy on, and then maybe a firm fitting woolly jumper. How long would you leave it on for? You would leave it on for several hours. Because the onion, if it's on too long, can irritate the skin, it's not a poultice maybe that I would use overnight. I might use it for several hours in the evening, or I might use it for several hours in the morning. You would never use the poultice twice because that onion will absorb a lot of waste and you want to discard it. Making it into a poultice is just really easy to discard. Then you don't get bits of onion falling all through the clothes either. Obviously, for an older person, you would make it a little bit bigger. You can also use it for a sore throat. For a sore throat, you would pull the onions out a little bit longer, and you would fold it over like this. And then you would want the poultice to be from ear to ear. So it would be around like that. When you put it on, then you would cover it with Glad wrap and then a scarf and pin it on. You could even go to work with your onion poultice on and no one will know. They might ask you about your perfume. You might leave it on for several hours, just as long as your body's happy with it, but you will be surprised at how it takes the edge off a sore throat. I was travelling recently, it was probably a couple of years ago now actually, and I was lecturing all week and I had 10 flights in the week, and near the end of the week I got a very sore throat. So I chopped up the onion, made the poultice and put it on, and it certainly took the edge off. But the next day when my throat was sore again, I didn't want to put the onion on because my skin was getting a little tender So I'll give you a simple treatment. It's called a heating compress. Because I was travelling, I got a sock, I wet the sock, wrung it out, and I wrapped the wet sock around my throat. I had a plastic bag in my bag, so I wrapped the plastic bag around my neck, and then I put a scarf around my neck and I pinned that together. That's a heating compress. People say, do you do it warm? No, you do it cold, because even if you do it warm, by the time you wring it out and pull it out, the air will cool it. But as soon as that plastic goes on your throat over the wet sock, it warms it up. You can go to bed with that overnight. You'll be amazed at how it takes the edge off a sore throat. It basically builds up a little steam bath around your neck and brings the blood to that area. And remember, your blood's the healer. Brings more nourishment, more white blood cell, takes away the waste. And of course, that one you can just keep doing again and again. Very simple treatment is the heating compress.